Welcome to a journey through the corridors of magical societies, where magic and governance intertwine in complex ways. Leveraging my background in history and over 20 years of consuming and creating fantasy settings, we'll dissect how magical powers can shape political landscapes. Ever wondered how our society would function if magic were real and part of its governance? Or how historical perceptions of magic have influenced the fantasy worlds we adore? In this video, we'll not only explore these intriguing questions, but also offer unique insights and practical guidelines for world builders and writers seeking to create believable magical societies. So sit back, relax, and let's tackle it one step at a time. Imagine a time when magic wasn't just the stuff of legends, but a fundamental force shaping societies and their leaders. This isn't fantasy, it's how our ancestors viewed the world through mythology. In ancient Greece, for example, gods were not distant figures to be worshipped in silence. They were active, powerful entities deeply involved in human affairs. Take Zeus, the king of gods. He didn't just oversee from his celestial throne, he was a hands-on ruler. His thunderbolts were more than just weather phenomena. They were potent symbols of divine authority, directly impacting governance and daily life in Greece. Imagine a Greek leader inspired by a thunderstorm, interpreting it as a sign to make pivotal decisions. Interpretations often came from oracles, who were revered as the voice of the gods themselves. These figures were more than advisors, they were pivotal conduits linking the divine and the mortal realms. Leaders and citizens alike hung on their every word, seeking guidance on matters as diverse as warfare and personal decisions. The words of an oracle could sway the course of entire nations, reflecting a society where divine guidance was an integral part of governance. Now let's journey to the sands of ancient Egypt, where magic was woven into the very fabric of governance. The pharaohs, seen as living gods, ruled with commands that held the power of magical decrees. Consider Isis, a goddess not only celebrated for her religious significance, but for her magical might. People believed that she had the power to control the flooding of the Nile. Her magic was supposed to be able to directly influence agriculture, dictating the kingdom's prosperity, so the line between the divine and the ruler was clearly blurred. In the frosty realms of Norse mythology, on the other hand, magic was a revered source of wisdom and leadership. Odin, in his relentless quest for knowledge, sought out the secrets of runes, symbols that were believed to have the power to shape reality and predict the future. In Norse society, these runes weren't just written characters, they were mystical tools guiding leaders' decisions and actions. Magic here was a critical element in understanding the world and influencing its course. Now contrast that with medieval Europe, where magic was shrouded in mystery and fear, often clashing with political and religious powers. Yet even amidst suspicion, rulers clandestinely sought out the counsel of astrologers and alchemists, revealing a complex relationship with the mystical. This contradiction between public condemnation and secret reliance on magic provides a compelling narrative angle for exploring magic and governance. But lastly, let's also briefly explore ancient China, where magic was seen as a harmonious part of the cosmos. Here, emperors employed magicians for entertainment, but even more so, they relied on them for practices like Feng Shui to ensure balance and harmony within their empire. In this tradition, magic was a natural force, seamlessly integrated into governance and daily life. It was essential for maintaining order in both the natural and cosmic realms. From these ancient perspectives, we learn that magic can be a core element of societal structure, governance, and everyday life. When crafting your magical worlds, think about how leaders might use magic, how it alters the perception of power, and how it intertwines with the mundane aspects of daily living. History can be a great starting point for a magical society, but let's dive even deeper. In a society where magic is interwoven with the very essence of ruling and decision-making, the ethical dimensions are as profound as they are complex. Picture a benevolent ruler gifted with healing powers who's transforming public health, or a powerful mage who guarantees bountiful harvests season after season by controlling the weather. These magic acts, akin to miracles, would be celebrated, but they also bring to light questions about dependence and power dynamics. Imagine the repercussions if an entire society would rely heavily on a single magical figure. How does this reliance shape the balance of power? What if the society's well-being is tied to the health or whims of this one magical individual? Now let's flip the coin and ponder an even darker scenario. Magic wielded by a tyrannical ruler. Think of a despot using mind control to quash dissent, or dark spells to eradicate political rivals. This misuse of magical power illustrates how magic can become a formidable instrument of oppression and control. It raises a critical question. How does a society safeguard itself against the abuse of such potent power? This scenario mirrors the need for checks and balances that are crucial in any governance system, magical or not. But beyond that, consider the potential for societal divide between those endowed with magical abilities and those without. In such a world, could someone lacking magical powers ever aspire to leadership or influence? Such a divide could foster a societal stratification where magical prowess dictates one's status, mirroring real-life issues of inequality and discrimination. Now, we shouldn't ignore the delicate balance between magic and mundane laws either. Visualize a kingdom where a council of mages steeped in arcane knowledge advises the throne. These mages would be a wellspring of insight, but how would their magical council be tethered to the laws of the land? Their decisions could shape military strategies or guide economic policies. So what checks could be put in place by a society to ensure the mages never overshadow the foundational laws that protect the rights and well-being of all citizens? In a world where magic is part of everyday life, these considerations would be even more relevant. Here, the rule of law must gracefully navigate the needs of both groups. Maybe a law would restrict the magic in public markets, leveling the playing field for non-magical merchants. Or there could be laws to shield magical individuals from discrimination to safeguard their rights and dignity. There might even be unspoken codes that govern the use of magic. Consider, for example, a culture where resorting to magic for trivial disputes is socially discouraged, nudging citizens to seek resolution through conventional legal means first. Imagine also the transformative role of magic in the realm of justice. In a world where spells can unwield truths or sway minds, the nature of trials and justice takes on a new dimension. Envision magical courts where spellcasters put on the robes of judges or investigators, their powers piercing through the veils of deception to discern guilt or innocence. While this could herald a more efficient justice system, it also conjures ethical dilemmas. How do societies ensure the just and fair use of these magical methods? Where is the line drawn to protect individual rights and prevent magical overreach? When integrating magic into your world and its societies, try to ask yourself, how does magic reshape the legal landscape? Are there special tribunals for magical transgressions? How do societies judge and penalize magical crimes? Wrestling with these questions lends authenticity to your world. It's about harmonizing the enchanting allure of magic with the solid bedrock of societal order. Now, if you found anything useful in the video so far, please consider giving it a like to help me grow this channel. Thank you. Magic is power, and who wields it can be a defining aspect of a society. Picture a world where magic is a rare gem, a gift bestowed upon only a select few. This exclusivity of magical prowess mirrors the possession of advanced technology or wealth in our own world. Just like the digital divide in modern society, this magical divide creates a chasm in a fantasy society. Those blessed with magical abilities wield extraordinary power and privilege, molding the social hierarchy. Now let's shift our view to a different scenario, a world where magic is as common as the air we breathe. This would be equal to a society where basic technology is accessible to everyone. In such a world, the narrative could pivot to the quality or rarity of one's magical skills. This would reflect our own world where the sophistication or brand of technology can be a status symbol. For your own world, ask yourself, who holds the keys to a magical kingdom? Is magic a birthright, a skill honed through study, or a gift granted by the gods? How does the presence or absence of magic shape one's place in society, their opportunities, and their dreams? Envision a kingdom where a small group of powerful mages stands at the top of the social hierarchy. Their control of magic would be the foundation of their control over the masses. They might use their powers to enforce laws, maintain order, or subtly bend public opinion to their will. This stark concentration of power creates a clear divide, the magical elite versus the ordinary citizen. But how does such a chasm in power shape society? Does it lead to a system where the non-magical majority feel their voices drowned out, their needs overlooked? The story of concentrated magical power isn't one-sided though. Consider a world besieged by deadly threats such as monstrous invasions or natural hazards. Here, a strong centralized magical authority couldn't just be beneficial, it could be vital for survival. The populace living under the shadow of these threats might view the magical elite as their guardians, their bulwark against chaos. This perspective casts the concentrated power in a different light, not as a tool of oppression, but as a shield against the unknown. Who rules is an important question to answer, but it is equally important to ask yourself how the ruling class rules and how the common people perceive their rulership. In this chapter, we dive into the fascinating aspect of cultural diversity within magical societies. Imagine a fantasy world comprising multiple cultures, each with its unique relationship to magic. In one culture, magic might be revered and central to their identity, with mages holding positions of power and respect. Their political system could be a magocracy, where decisions are made by those skilled in magic. In this society, magical prowess could be essential for leadership, with non-magical individuals having limited influence in governance. Now contrast this with another culture within the same world where magic is viewed with suspicion or as a tool for specific purposes, like healing or agriculture. Here, political power might reside with non-magical leaders, and magic is strictly regulated or even prohibited in certain aspects of public life. The relationship between those two cultures could be complex, marked by a mix of awe, envy, mistrust, and even fear. These varying cultural attitudes towards magic can lead to diverse forms of governance and societal norms. For instance, a society that sees magic as a sacred gift might have elaborate rituals and traditions surrounding its practice. In contrast, a culture that views magic pragmatically might have more bureaucratic structures in place, managing magic as a resource. For world builders and writers, this cultural diversity presents an opportunity to explore the intricate dynamics of political power, prejudice, and cooperation. How do these different societies interact? Is there trade, diplomatic relations, or conflict? How do they negotiate their differences in magical practices and beliefs? The cultural perception of magic also impacts international relations. A nation that considers magic a high art might view a non-magical society as inferior, or conversely, as a threat due to the lack of dependency on magic. This can lead to tensions, alliances, or even wars based on different ideologies about magic. Remember, cultural diversity in magical societies isn't just about different magical practices. It's about how these practices reflect and shape the politics, values, and daily lives of the people. Magic in any form would have an impact on society, but looking at magic as a static element can leave a lot of important aspects uncovered. Imagine, for example, a society where magic is an emerging force. In its infancy, it might usher in a wave of chaos, challenging the existing societal and political frameworks that are unprepared for such a disruption. As comprehension and mastery of this newfound power grow, magic becomes an integral part of societal evolution. This could give birth to new institutions like magical academies or regulatory councils, and it would lead to the transformation of magic users from feared outcasts to revered figures, pivotal in this societal hierarchy. Now let's flip the coin and imagine a world where magic is a waning force. Here, its decline would likely herald a period of turmoil. Societies that once flourished under the aegis of magic now find themselves grappling with fading glory. Power dynamics could shift from magical elites to non-magical factions, or those clinging to the remnants of magical power. The waning of magic would not just be a loss of ability, it would equal a crisis of cultural identity for any society that was once defined by their magical prowess. For your own world, it can be interesting to explore a variety of questions. How has magic transformed over the ages? What catalysts, be it discovery, innovation, or natural phenomena, have driven these changes? How do individuals and communities adapt to a world where the essence of magic is changing? These considerations will not only deepen your world building, but also provide opportunities for character development and compelling storytelling. When crafting societies, magic can not only be a force of wonder, but also a potent tool of shaping beliefs, swaying opinions, and maintaining power. Envision a government that harnesses illusion spells to spread lies and to stage grandiose events that craft a narrative of captivation and deception. Enchantments could serve as invisible threats, pulling at the hearts and minds of citizens, enhancing political speeches, quelling dissent, and blurring the line between reality and magical fabrication. In such a world, discerning truth becomes a labyrinthine challenge, with citizens adrift in a sea of manipulated perceptions. Consider the role of magical propaganda in weaving the fabrics of cultural narratives and national identities. Spellcasters and bards become architects of legend, crafting tales that glorify the state and its leaders, thereby embedding magic into the cultural heritage. These tales serve not just as entertainment, but as tools to foster patriotism and unity, particularly in times of strife. However, the influence of magic on public perception isn't necessarily the sole domain of governing powers. Rebel factions and dissenting voices too could wield magic to disseminate their messages, challenging the state-crafted narratives and galvanize support. This dynamic chess game of magical influence can add a complex layer to societal and political machinations. Interesting questions for your own world could be: how does magical propaganda affect the daily life of the average citizen in your world? Are there mechanisms to counterbalance or regulate the use of magic in media and communication? What unfolds when the wheel of enchantment lifts, revealing the stark truth beneath? Taking these things into consideration allows you to explore themes of power, truth, and manipulation, and can really deepen the foundation of your society. In today's last chapter, let's explore the interaction between magical and non-magical societies. First, consider the concept of diplomacy. Picture a realm where magic flows like water and another where steel and strategy reign supreme. How do these vastly different societies communicate and understand each other? Magic, a mundane reality for one, might be an unfathomable concept or a source of fear for the other. Diplomats would have to walk a tightrope, bridging worlds apart and translating not just words, but entire worldviews. Now consider the dynamics of trade in this scenario. What ripples are sent through a non-magical market when a magical artifact makes its debut? Or what fascination grips a magical society when technological marvels from a non-magical world appear? A healing potion might spark a medical revolution in a non-magical society, while a simple telescope could open new vistas for a magical civilization. In the realm of conflict and alliances, the interactions take on an even more dramatic shape. Imagine a non-magical army with its legions and tactics that faces a magical force where a handful of sorcerers wield the power of armies. Battles here become a chess game of strategy, strength, and understanding the other's weaknesses. Alliances, meanwhile, could forge unions of enchanted armaments and advanced technologies, a synergy between technology and magic. Cultural exchange too is a mesmerizing aspect of these interactions. Imagine a non-magical society's awe at witnessing magic wonders such as flying carpets or talking beasts. For them it would be as if the legends have leaped into reality. Conversely, consider the enchantment of a magical society that experiences the finesse of non-magical art, music, or technology. This exchange could pave the way from mutual suspicion to respect and even admiration. As much as magic might be what we want to focus on when crafting magical societies, it is important to not forget about the mundane and non-magical aspects that are affected by the mere existence of magic. Only by doing so can we ensure that the societies we create feel grounded and logical within the context of their worlds. Now, real historical magic can be an incredible source of inspiration for these fantastical elements. Discover 8 ancient magics in this next video and let the secrets from our past take your magical worlds to new heights.